Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the public hearing that was set for 7 p.m. for a zoning amendment application 0719-2 by Ralph Victor Construction Incorporated, requesting a zoning map amendment for current permanent parcel number 08A 018 0000250 and 08A 018-0000030, whose address is 10811 Prouty Road, and being about 25.57 acres of land from the current zoning district of R1 residential to R3 residential. Administrator Rose, was there proper legal notice published in a timely manner for this?
Yes, sir. I have the affidavit of publication. This notice was published in the News Herald and also on newsherald.com on January 17th of 2020. It was properly noticed. Thank you.
Thank you. In an effort to provide our residents in Concord with the information regarding this request for a zoning amendment, I'd like to ask Heather Freeman, who is our zoning director, to step up and sort of give a summary for everybody, please.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I did put together just a couple PowerPoint slides here that I believe Rick is going to put on the screen over here. So this map here is the zoning map that's overlaid over an aerial showing outlined in red the location of the property that's in question. The yellow shown on the map is all the property is zoned R1 residential, which includes this property. You'll also see an orange color on the map. That's our R3 residential. To the south of this property in orange is Lockwood Ridge and also Hillshire Woods. And then if you go to the north of this property in yellow, we've got Ellison Creek subdivision and Lamuth, the middle school that's located there across the street from Cloverdale Lakes. The site butts up to State Route 44. It's located on Prouty Road between Morley and Ravenna Road. Here is this is a 2017 aerial photography. The current land use, it was a horse farm. Currently inactive. There sits an old barn and an old style dwelling on the property. There's some woodlands to the north with some environmentally sensitive areas located within those woodland areas. To the east is the Auburn Ridge Road development, which is contains a private street. And as directly across the street on the south side, there's some larger lots containing single-family homes on the south side of Prouty Road. I thought it would be good to go over just briefly the district purpose statements for both these districts. So the property is currently zoned R1. And the purpose of this district is to provide an area within the township that's for housing and other residential uses that are in close proximity to major highways, interchanges of limited access. They're on higher traffic roads. They're near commercial concentrations and service areas. And these are areas that are generally serviced by sanitary sewer and public water. And they tend to have a suburban character and nature. The purpose statement of the R3 is to provide a limited amount of areas within the township to provide alternative housing. And the intent of the district is to allow for both multifamily dwellings and single-family cluster dwellings. And as far as the location of where these areas should be located, they should be located as a transitional land use between areas that are currently zoned R1 and those areas that are non-residential. And these areas should be adjacent to major highways such as Interstate 90. And these locations should be in areas that are currently zoned R1 and where low-density residential is not likely to develop because of its location or some site conditions. And briefly, under the existing R1 residential, the permitted residential uses include single-family dwellings and two-family dwellings. The single-family dwellings, if they're serviced by sanitary sewer, the lot size is a minimum 22,000 square feet. If you're on septic, it's 3/4 of an acre. And if you're going to develop two-family dwellings, it's a minimum lot size of 1 acre. And under the R3, the two main permitted residential uses include the single-family cluster dwellings. That would be detached single-family homes fronting on private streets with a maximum density of 6 units per acre. And the other development option would be multifamily dwellings. These are buildings that contain between 3 and 8 dwelling units per grouping of building at a maximum density of 8 units per acre overall for the development. As you know, we did send this application to the Lake County Planning Commission for their review, and when the application was first submitted to the township, the applicant was proposing to do more of an independent living type development, the attached units between 3 and 8 units per acre. At that time, we received a recommendation from the Planning Commission recommending a denial of that application. They thought that we need to do some further planning to determine where that type of density of development should be located within the township. Then by the time it got to the Zoning Commission, the project changed a little bit, and the developer had proposed the single-family cluster dwellings at a maximum of 6 units per acre. I'll let him go into his plan. He did present a plan to the Zoning Commission that evening, but ultimately the Zoning Commission has recommended denial to the trustees on this application. So at that point, unless you have any other questions for me, if you'd like to have the developer come up, he can present his case to you.
Sure. Mr. Victor, would you like to come up to the podium? Thank you.
My name's Todd Victor, and we're trying to get this development rezoned because we think it's the most efficient way to develop the property. We would be able to leave a lot of open space, where in the R1 we wouldn't be able to leave a lot of open space. We would have to use all the property for the R1 zoning, and in the R3 we would have to leave buffers around everyone's property where we butt up to the neighbor's property on the east. Would be a 50-foot buffer, and we're only asking for about 18 more houses than we would get in the R1 zoning. So it's about 2.5 per acre. 2.5 units per acre is what we're asking for. We're not asking for the 6 units per acre. And to the west, to the south, we're only 300 yards away from Lockwood Ridge, which the density is a lot higher than that there. We had a question about the sewer being available. I have the letter from Randy Roethlisberger from Lake County Utilities saying we are allowed to have sewer there with a pump station. If it's condominiums or apartments, but we're not going to be building apartments. We're going to be building detached cluster houses there. And the lot size is 60 by 150. We're actually going to have that actual size of the units of the land would be 60 by 150. In the R1, someone could build a building within 10 feet of the property line. And in this zone, in the R3, they would have to be at least 60 to 70 feet away from the property line. And we are on a major highway, Route 44. That's one of the stipulations. I don't know what else if you want to see the letter from Randy, I got the letter here. But with this zoning, we would be able to leave a lot of open space with our layout that we have, and protect more land that would never be built on. In the R1, we would have to use every bit of the property.
You mentioned that you're close to Route 44,
Right.
but there's not really any access right there. I mean, the access point is up on 84 coming over to Auburn Road. I mean, there's gonna be a huge volume of increased traffic on Prouty Road, probably going up to Morley where Pine Hill is and at that intersection, correct?
Yeah. There's going to be, either way, there's going to be more traffic. I mean, it's going to be unavoidable with development.
Okay, thank you.
You want to see the letter from Randy?
Sure. Okay, for the audience portion of this hearing, we have a pretty good crowd here, so what I'd like to do, we'll start at one side of the room and go to the other. For those that are in favor for the proposed change, if you'd like to come up to the podium here, state your name and address for the record, and you can make your comments. And then we'll move along to the other side. Anybody for the proposed rezoning? No. Okay, so let's start. For those that are against this side of the room, if you'd start by coming up.
Well, Mr. Chairman, why don't you do
Okay.
pro for both parts?
Sorry, correct. Anybody on this side? Nobody on this side? All right, this side. Okay. Let's go back to this side, and for those that are against the rezoning, if you'd like to come up to the podium and state your name and address, one at a time, please, and you can make your comments at this time. Anybody?
Albert Jones, 10731 Prouty Road, and I'm against the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Louise Burkhart, 7041 Auburn Road, and I am against it. Do you need any reasons?
If you'd like to state those, you're free to do so at this time.
Well, I thought we had a comprehensive plan, and this does not fit in the comprehensive plan. It also will increase the traffic on Auburn and Prouty, which right now we have enough accidents. We don't need any more. And I have probably another 20 or 30 things I could say, but I will leave it at those two because those are the most important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, gang.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Mark Stedman. I live at 7241 Auburn. What traffic studies have been done, if any? You know, that intersection today jams up. I've been in traffic where I'm 30, 40 cars back on Prouty trying to get up to Auburn. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard boom, boom, smash up, you know, because I just live right down the street. But has a feasibility study been done as to whether or not that intersection is going to have to be reworked to put in turning lanes and relocate utilities? You know, and if in fact that needs to be done, who flips the bill for that? Because that's not going to be you know, a 5-figure job. That's gonna take some money, and that's gonna take a lot of time. So, just wanted to throw it out there. If you guys have anything, we certainly would like to see it. Post it on a grapevine, let us read about it. You know, I'm all for development,
Right.
but let's take our time and do it reasonably. And let's not just throw it in and then worry about the after effects. We did that, went through that on Cryle Road when that whole intersection was reworked, and it's a mess. And all the development that went in up on Cryle Road was all done before the roadways were improved. Now you drive down Cryle Road and you're basically swerving in and out of chuck holes. And what's the plan on fixing that road? So before we bring something else in, where we then have to go back and rework the roadways, let's do the feasibility study, and then, if we have to rework it, then put it out to the public to see if the public wants to absorb that cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Got it? Oh, thanks.
Thank you. You're the mic guy. Hi, Vanessa Pasick, 11705 Kelly Court. And I just wanted to express again how R3 really needs to be done carefully and with a lot of thought, because we can see that it started out as one thing with a certain density, and it's now being proposed as something completely different. But regardless of what plans or what ideas are presented, we know that you can have up to 8 homes or 8 units per acre. And so we really need to be careful when we do that. If there is a lot of sensitive area in that proposed development, then I would suggest that the developer consider a conservation district, because my minimum is 20 acres. This is over 20 acres. So you could get some additional homes and yet put them closer together and yet save whatever sensitive area is there. So that's another way to go. The reason that that would be good is that you'd be able to see the plan, and you'd know that that was the plan. You'd know what the density would be before you would approve something like that. So if that's, you know, so if that is an angle that that the developer and the township would like to go, that's another way to do it. But be extremely careful about rezoning anything R3 because of the 8 homes per acre. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Debbie Harrell, 6430 Fay Road. Vanessa and Mark hit on a couple of my questions. If there is an environmental sensitive area, how do we protect that? What's going to be done to protect that? And the talk of open space, and there'd actually be more open space this way than the other way. Is the open space considered driveways, like in many developments? That's considered rooftops, driveways. What is really open space? Is it going to be wooded? Is it going to be protected? And there is way too much traffic in that area already. When you come up, well, first of all, trying to come out Fay and make it across, you take your life into your hands. The whole area is just saturated. But when you get on Prouty to go to Auburn at that 4-way, which I have to do every day, it's, you know, you just do one of these hoping you make it through, because there's just way too much for our roads. And then when you put in the developments, then we have to go back to the taxpayers, because now we need increased services, because now we've got more developments. So, you know, there we are now needing roads fixed and more EMS, and then I guess after all the years of coming to the meetings, I get frustrated and tired of hearing the developers say, well, either way we're gonna do this, or either way we're gonna do that. Why? Why can't we protect Concord? Why can't we protect what used to be a very pretty area? We went from rural, I grew up here, I've been here 52 years. We went from rural to semi-rural to now we're just, you know, we're just developed. Anybody and everybody comes in, and anybody and everybody wants to build and do a development, and why aren't we protecting Concord? For those of us that have lived here forever, I bought the home I grew up in, it's just so sad to see this go on, and it's so sad to hear that, well, we're gonna do something anyways, and so take this, or else we're gonna do this. No, I'm against it. I don't think that needs to be put in over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from this side of the room? Feel free to stand up and come to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hal Sekula, 6989 Auburn Ridge Drive, which our development is right next to this property, which we have 2-acre lots approximately. Now, the word high density comes up with this R3. Is high density in conjunction, similar to what Concord's vision is of being country-like, not city-like, you know, no street lights, and, you know, we want to have this nice atmosphere. High density doesn't fit in with that at all. But back to my, I've been to all these meetings. I've been to the Lake County Planning Commission, Lake County Zoning Commission, our zoning commission here. Nobody has said, let's do this. They've all been negative. Don't do it. So why are we even talking about it? It shouldn't, there's no, I don't even know how it got to be R1 because we have 2-acre lots. Why can we, where the horse farm came from, 25 acres of horse farm to R1 is beyond me. But now we want to make it high density. And like you said, there's no access to 44 there. Plus that hill is, come here on a winter day and see how that hill is coming up to Morley. But the main thing that I noticed, you got a letter from the county saying about a pump station, the ability to hook up to a sewer. The only problem is you have to get to that sewer. And right now that land is landlocked. And I still haven't heard an explanation on how we're going to get to that from that pump station down to Auburn Road where the sewer is. Because the sewer on Prouty Road is full since 2002 when I built. So I haven't heard an explanation how that sewage is going to get from the pump station to the sewer line. So using my guess, I'm against this whole proposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Christian Andrews. I reside at 10441 Prouty Road. And I do stand in opposition to the zoning amendment. Just a few comments. First, happy birthday, Mike.
Oh, thanks very much. I can't think of a better place to spend my 38th birthday.
I can imagine. We're looking forward to this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have been a resident of, a very proud and happy resident of Concord and on Prouty Road for 17 plus years. That was my first home when I bought it, and I grew up in Jaga. And when I moved here, actually in Chesterland, and everybody had an acre of land where I grew up, and we all played together as kids, and I think some of my neighbors are here, and our kids all play together in the yard too. It's not fenced in. It is a residential area, and we really enjoy our road. And in those 17 years, we've seen our traffic increase exponentially. We have seen semi-traffic. I mean, large semi-trucks coming down full lane. I don't even know how they get down Prouty up, you know, past the Morley Hill and up the other side. The road is becoming very chewed up. I don't know what the plans are for when it's going to be resurfaced. And I believe that, like others that spoke before me, that the traffic will increase with this. I do not agree with the developer when he said that it's going to increase anyways. I mean, I don't see how, unless this gets rezoned. However, just to wrap up my statements, I did want to say that I see the traffic increasing. Down the road, we have a fire station. I've seen them try and get out, and they can't get by. They got cars backed up the intersection of Prouty and Morley. They can't even get by with the EMS and the fire. Now, with the increased traffic that we know is going to happen with the high density in there, I think that's only going to make a much worse situation. So, again, thank you for letting us speak.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Jack Miley. I live at 6975 Auburn Ridge Drive. I'm the president of our association, and I'm here to say a few things with regards to our association. Quite a few of our members couldn't come tonight, but I would easily say and put my reputation on that I speak for them saying that they're opposed to this development or this kind of a plan. Also, they're here to remind that 2 of 3 of you, plus myself, plus several other elections in Concord over the decades, have supported semi-rural development, not high density. High density's never been wanted here, especially in rural areas, especially in residential areas. They can do all they want to do up here on Cryo and Auburn by the businesses. That's fine. I have no problem with that, but in and around the neighborhoods, it's not welcome. And with regards to traffic, I brought that up last time I was here. Anybody that drives those roads, especially seasonal or during the school years, both of those intersections, Auburn, Prouty Hill, Morley, doesn't need any more cars. It's already backed up. You go up there between 7 and 8:30 daily, especially during the school year. It's really dangerous. And then at night, about 4 to 6. And the fire departments, I've seen them get jammed up. I've seen the ambulances get jammed up. I know someday it's going to be developed, and it may be residential homes like the Ellison Creek development, which, you know, that's part of moving ahead. But the bottom line is we're not increasing 80 to 200 cars when we do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miley. Anyone else from the audience?
Hello.
Hello.
Faith Andrews, 10441 Prouty Road. I just want to echo the sentiments of my husband and Mr. Miley and everybody else who's spoken against this. I don't understand why we would put high-density housing in, you know, a residential district that is zoned for single-family homes. It just doesn't go. Again, the traffic issue and everything else, but, you know, again, whatever you guys do up here on Cryle and all that other kind of thing, it's one thing, but let's leave the residential neighborhoods alone. Let's keep the high density out of that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dawn Boris, 10461 Prouty Road. I also oppose the building of the homes. When we moved in 22 years ago, our kids were able to play a little bit in the front yard. Now they can't. It's just so backed up. The buses can't even get through. The postman can't get through. He's always beeping his horn and nearly getting hit. Like Chris Andrews said, the firemen, there's just no place to add any additional cars. The roads are full of potholes. They haven't been fixed since 91, maybe. And Those are just some basic things, so I'm not for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Okay, thank you for all your comments. Mr. Victor, would you like to step back up to the podium if you'd like to discuss any few of the questions that were posed? If not,
On the sewer, and for your information, so you know, the sewer can come down from the corner of Auburn down Prouty. That would be a public sewer brought to our property.
Auburn and what?
Auburn and Prouty.
So down Prouty Road?
Can go down Prouty Road with the public sewer, and then we can tie a pump station into that.
From the back of the lot?
From a force main
Okay.
going up to that sewer. Right. The sewer line can come down Prouty in the right of way, a public sewer, and then we can tie into that with a force main.
So you're gonna dig it up, is that on the county or the township, or are you paid for that, digging up the road?
No, we have to pay for it.
Todd, do you want
Mr.
to
Victor, you want to just
direct your
address-
attention to the chair?
Okay, yeah, we would have to pay for it. And then, everyone's worried about the high density. We're asking for 18 more houses, 2.5 per acre. It's not gonna be 6 units an acre. We can put 42 houses in there as it sits with the zoning that it is now.
Okay.
We laid it out for 42 houses. We're asking for 60. So it's not gonna be high density, and it would allow to leave a lot more open space and protection of areas, whatever areas people would want protected. This zoning would allow that. In the R1, we would have to use every bit of the property up for the lots to get the 42 in there that we can. There would be less roadway to put in with the R1. There would be less roadway, less sewer lines, and less utilities with the R3. So that's why there's gonna be traffic either way. I mean, there might be a little bit less, well, there would be a little bit less, of course. 18 houses less, but most likely, those 42 would be more bigger family houses than, retirement houses. So.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. Mrs. Lucci, you need any more information?
I just had a question regarding the traffic patterns. Are those typically studied by the county before these developments are? I'm asking Heather, yeah. Yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know who you were asking. So Prouty Road is a county road. With any new development, the county engineer is going to require the developer to do a traffic impact study. And I think that traffic impact study would estimate how much increased traffic they would anticipate, and then determine whether or not any type of roadway improvements may be required for the development. So I don't know if Mr. Victor has done any of that yet.
Thank you. Anything else? Mr. McIntosh?
I don't have any additional questions.
Neither do I. Okay, so I will close this public hearing at this point in time, and we will go into the...
You can roll right into the regular
Trustee.
meeting. It's after 7:30, so.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to call to order the Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for February 3rd, 2020. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Roll call, please.
Okay, Mrs. Lucci?
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer?
Present.
Mr. McIntosh?
Present.
Okay, the first order of business is we are going to swear in our new fire department chaplain. Would Brian Bukoveski please come forward? Brian, welcome forward. I'm going to raise your right hand and say, I do. Do you solemnly promise that you will faithfully and diligently perform the duties of fire chaplain for the Concord Township Fire Department and provide comfort and spiritual support to the staff of this department and the citizens of the community as you are called upon? I do. Will you strive to set an exemplary standard of ethical and moral conduct by not using your position of fire chaplain to evangelize or to gain personal advantage? And will you provide comfort and spiritual support to all persons without bias toward a religion, affiliation, gender, orientation, race, national origin, age, or any other such distinction? Will you strive to set an exemplary standard of ethical and moral conduct? I do. Will you acknowledge those appointed in a position of authority within this department and serve them with loyalty? And will you be supportive of the staff with whom you serve? And will you be subject to their authority when on duty? And will you accept the responsibility willingly and without reservation, so help you God? I do. It is my honor to welcome Chaplain Brian Bukoveski as the newest member of the Concord Fire Department. Okay, we are going to go into the approval of minutes. We will need a motion to approve the January 15th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I approve that, or move that we approve the January 15th, 2020 special meeting minutes as written.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we will need an additional motion to approve the minutes from the January 15th, 2020 regular trustee meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the January 15th, 2020 regular trustee meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now into the elected officials reports, and we will start with our fiscal officer, Amy Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to timing on the month and employees' vacations and a new employee starting, I'm going to request that you table the January financial reports until the February 19th, she says with a question, meeting.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, 19.
Thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay. Trustees reports, Mrs. Lucci.
Yeah, I just wanted to address one call I received from a resident regarding salting of the roads, which is not a huge deal this winter. But the question was, why are salting just the intersections and not the entire roads? And I was made aware and informed by our service director that there was a policy back in 2008 that addressed sensible salting, and basically just to preserve vehicle road wear, kind of deal with the increased costs of salt, and those types of issues. And I did relay that information to the resident, and I believe we are putting that policy back up on the website in case anybody needs to review.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Mr. McIntosh.
Since the last meeting, I taken a couple of questions regarding potential zoning violation and some questions regarding enforcement of our zoning code, some resident complaints with respect to some things at the Parkview Elementary. I did take some time to visit 3 fire stations with Administrator Rose and both Chief Sabo and Deputy Chief Terriaco. I fielded questions regarding the Citizen Advisory Committee and the fire station project as well. And I'd like to just take a minute, if I could, just to maybe share some information regarding the public hearing we just had to address something Mr. Sekula said, and you asked the question about why we were even talking about it. The public hearing is just an order of process. It's due process where it's the way things go. So the zoning commission has their hearing and the trustees have to do it. So every time somebody applies for this, it's just a process you go through. It isn't because we're looking at it favorably or unfavorably. It's just how the process of the township government goes. And then Ms. Harold, with respect to questions regarding the zoning in Concord Township and why it's changing. For those residents who don't know, I spent 10 years on the zoning board, and there's a lot of information I'd be willing to discuss if anyone has questions about the zoning and how it's utilized in Concord Township and some of the history. I'm sure you can also contact Heather Freeman in the zoning department. My contact information's on the website. Business cards are out on the counter here, and I'm always happy to talk with residents who have questions about how our zoning works and why the districts are what they were and so forth. So, concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, we did have office hours last Friday here, and we did have some residents from Concord present there.
Staff meeting.
Or staff meeting, I'm sorry. Staff meeting, correct.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And we did have some discussion on the fire station project. We are in the process of setting dates for what we are going to call stakeholder meetings, in which it provides open access for people in the community to be involved, give us their input, and we can have dialogue together collaboratively with residents in the community. I'm moving this project forward, which I think everybody's in agreement that that's the way we want to do it. So we are going to have some timeline here in the near future. We are investigating financing options for the project, and we will have discussion on those options during these stakeholder meetings. And we're in the process of working out some dates. We would like to get the architect here also for discussion, so we're waiting on some information back from the architect as far as availability of dates and things of that nature. So with that, we're going to move into department reports. Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer, members of the board, Mrs. Dawson, members of the audience, and our public. Good evening. I also would like to take a couple minutes to touch bases on the fire station project. It is front and center here with me. We did recently have a conference call with the architect. We discussed getting the cost estimate on the redesign as quickly as possible. We're hoping to have it this week. We also requested a separate quote in order to conduct geoanalysis on the soccer field site. In the event that that becomes feasible, we may look at placing the fire station on the soccer field site. Fire chief and I and Trustee McIntosh touched on this. The fire chief, myself, Trustee McIntosh, Deputy Chief Terriaco have toured several area stations. Again, refamiliarizing, doing more homework, looking at lessons learned from them. We continue to explore financing options in close coordination with our fiscal officer. I think it would be best to conduct a series of stakeholder meetings. These meetings can be used to inform all the citizens regarding the fire station project. After the presentation, we can break out into several distinct groups, such as, architecture and building design, fire operations, finance. So if there are subject matter experts that are in the community that wish to do a deeper dive into what we've presented or see everything about the project, they can work with the architecture and building design folks. They can work with the the fire department, talk about fire operations and how that works. They can talk to the fiscal officer and myself about financing options. Citizens will have the ability to discuss all that are focused on their particular areas of interest. We'll also do I'm recommending follow-on meetings so that once we've collected all these comments and questions that have been fielded, we can provide answers to everybody and update the entire community on the happenings. This allows all interested citizens the ability to participate. I recommend we conduct at least 2 meetings, initially one during the day and one in the evening, which gives our residents a better opportunity. So if they're busy in the evening, they can attend during the day, or they can attend in the evening if they can't make the daytime meeting. And we'll run the same thing twice. On the agenda this evening, there are several personnel items that require your vote. I recommend approval on all 4 of them. There are 2 for the service department and 2 for the fire department, and we're excited to be getting these folks on board. And finally, I will be out of town starting tomorrow afternoon for the remainder of the week. I will be attending, along with Mr. McIntosh and Mrs. Lucci, we will be attending the Ohio Township Association's annual conference in Columbus. I will be available by phone and or email should anyone need anything. I'll be checking those regularly. And that concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Chief Sable with the Fire Department.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Good
So
evening.
for the month of January, we had 234 events. We had 171 EMS calls with 123 transports to area hospitals. We had 5 fire events inside Concord. We had 1 vehicle fire. Outside of Concord, we assisted in 4 structure fires. We received mutual aid 18 times and gave mutual aid, flip that. We gave mutual aid 18 times and received it 11 times. Our Fire Prevention Bureau completed 46 inspections, accounting for approximately 69 hours. They had 28 inspections passed, 9 passed with comments, 2 passed with discrepancies. We have 2 pending inspections. We have 5 failed inspections, and that includes 2 follow-up inspections to the same occupancy. We also participated in 2 plan reviews. The hours on plan reviews for submission to the Lake County Building Department was approximately 6 hours, and they participated in 4 hours of continuing education to keep their certifications up. And then they also installed 2 residential Knox boxes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. Mr. Kraska was unable to be here tonight due to some circumstances, so we're going to skip the service department this evening.
Okay. We will move on then to the zoning department. Heather Freeman.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
So the month of January is relatively slow as far as permits go for the zoning department. We issued 9 applications and collected $1,800 in fees. Our office did receive and began investigations on 6 new complaints about potential zoning violations, and we performed over 63 site inspections on open zoning permits. We also had several conversations working with commercial developers about projects that they're planning on submitting for later in this year, projects that they're hoping to get started spring, summer. So there's a lot of back and forth conversations with their engineers as far as what the process is and what they're supposed to submit. So we're looking forward to those plans. Tomorrow night, the Zoning Commission is going to hold their regular meeting. We're going to have a work session, first of many, I would imagine. They want to take a look at our existing housing stock, and I'm going to update them on some demographic trends and where things are going, so they can maybe be better informed about decisions about if we have this independent living concept be presented again in the future, or any other type of housing that may require some change in zoning. Also, our Board of Zoning Appeals is going to meet next Wednesday. We have 1 new case for them to review.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Recreation Department, I believe Administrator Rose is giving that report today for Deborah.
I am, and for those of you that know how enthusiastic Deborah Esker is, I promised her I would step out of my shell and be as enthusiastic as she is. So, Recreation Department report. Good evening, Concord. The Concord Township Recreation Department encourages everyone to check out the classes at the Concord Community Center. Got a lot of neat, really cool stuff. We have beginning yoga, we have Yogi's Pilates Fusion, we have pound class, that's the one with the colored drumsticks that really gets everybody moving. We have martial arts, we have mixed media art, stained glass photo frame, we have Windows 10 for adults, we have photography, and oh, by the way, there's a photography contest that's going right now. There are forums out here in the hallway and also at the community center. You can also look at our terrific website. We have life skills for teens. We have kids, canvas, and painting classes. We have a Move and Groove for ages 2 to 3. We have Princess Ballet for ages 3 to 5. And we have Hip Hop and Tumble for ages 4 to 6. So there's a lot going on, and you can check out the website and sign up for classes. And also, the Recreation Department, in collaboration with Morley and Mentor Libraries, is pleased to present the following workshops in February. And these workshops are hosted by library staff, but they actually take place in the Concord Community Center, so it's kind of neat. The library comes to us. Okay, so on February 4th, we've got lava bead bracelets. On February 11th, we have the Reader's Cafe. You can hang out, sip coffee as you discuss your favorite book. Okay, on 2/18, for those of you that are military and history enthusiasts, there is a Battle of Midway lecture, which I hear is absolutely riveting. And then on 2/25, and I'm hoping Sheriff Liam Bruno, so you'll have to take this message back to him for me. I hope Sheriff Liam Bruno will join me for musical bingo, which has some terrific prizes. All right? You got the winter blahs. We're going to bust out those winter blahs, and we're going to head out for a winter hike. At the Old Stone School at noon on Tuesday, February 18th, we're going to get together. You're going to make and meet some new hiking friends. Bring a brown bag lunch and enjoy the charm of the Old Stone School after the short hike. It's free. You just have to call the Recreation Department to reserve your spot. And if you do pack a lunch, no egg salad sandwiches. All right? That's just doing a courtesy for everyone. All right? Now, everybody's got that special antique that's been handed down from Aunt Sally that they think is extremely valuable. Okay? Well, on February 5th, you can actually find out, because at the senior social, they're going to have Valentine's auctions come in, and they're going to facilitate our own version of Antiques Roadshow. Okay? Our local legend, Susan Canavito, is back, and she's going to present some funny historical trivia at our February 19th senior social. And new this year, we're hosting our monthly bingo and lunch programs at the community center on the 4th Wednesday of each month at 11 a.m. The programs are free, but reservations are required, so call the Recreation Department today or go online to register. And all of this information and more can be found in the winter-spring edition of the Township Newsletter, the Concord Grapevine, and also online at concordtwp.com, or simply call the terrific Recreation Department at 440-639-4650. Thank you very much.
Very, very good, Mr. Rose.
Thank you.
I don't know, that sets the standard for Concord law enforcement with the sheriff's office. Lieutenant Harpster, you gotta follow this act, so welcome.
I was relieved when I didn't see Deborah here, because every time I come I have to follow her, but you nailed it.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of January, the Sheriff's Office had 1,110 calls for service. We had 5 injury accidents, 12 property damage accidents. For January arrests, we had on Andrea Drive, an adult male for 2 counts of murder. Prouty Road, we had an adult male for reckless operation and failure to comply. On Stonewick Drive, we had 5 juvenile males for underage consumption. On Stonehenge, adult male for domestic violence. Crowell Road at Waffle House, an adult male for OVI. Colleen Drive, an adult female for domestic violence. Friedel Drive, adult female for OVI. Village Drive, an adult male for possession of marijuana. And Crowell Road, adult male for disorderly conduct. We had 89 alarms, 25 citations on traffic stops, 211 written warnings on traffic stops. We had 7 driving under suspension citations, 2 OVI citations and arrests. We had 109 business checks and 75 crime prevention cards open. We had an assault on Capitol Parkway, breaking and entering of a structure, 3 of those, 1 on Johnny Cake Ridge, 1 on Ravenna, and 1 on 608. And we had 1 burglary on Prouty Road. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thanks.
Okay, we will now move into the audience portion of the meeting tonight. If anybody's interested in coming to the podium and speaking, you can come up at this time and state your name and address, please. Nobody? Okay, we will move into old business, which we have none. New business, we have several votes this evening. First is the January financial reports.
Mr.
We're
Chairman,
gonna
the
table those.
request from the fiscal officer was to table that.
Would you like me to give a little background on the NOPEC grant?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to speak to the next vote. We're requesting that Resolution 2020-03 be considered in the positive for an OPEC grant. NOPEC has deemed that we're eligible for $62,160 in order to get that money for this year, which last year we got approximately the same amount. We tabled it for future use of the fire station. We can go ahead and do that again tonight, but they have to get an official resolution in which we determined that the chairman will be signing the grant agreement according to that. And then later on in the year, if we don't deem it necessary to use those funds this year, then we'll go ahead and put in a table request. So it's paperwork. That's basically what it is. So we don't get it every year. I'm not sure how they determine it. Once in a while, we'll just get a surprise letter that says, hey, if you want, $62,160 to save energy costs, then we need an official resolution that you would like to take those funds.
So we need a motion for resolution 2020-03, the NOPEC grant.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept or pass the resolution 2020-3 for the NOPEC grant.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is resolution 2020-04, intent to conduct an internet auction for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit personal property of Concord Township for the year 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept resolution 2020-04 for the intent to conduct an internet auction for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, unfit personal property of Concord Township for the year 2020.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is resolution 2020-05, declaring certain personal property of the Concord Township Service Department surplus and not needed for public purpose and obsolete and unfit for the use which the property was acquired.
And Mr. Chairman, this particular resolution is specifically for a 2000 International 4700 dump truck and a 2006 Chevrolet 3500 pickup truck that the service department needs your permission in order to sell that on the internet-based auction.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to vote for resolution 2020-05, declaring certain personal property of Concord Township Service Department surplus and not needed for the purpose of obsolete and unfit for the use which it was intended and acquired.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is resolution 2020-06, declaring certain personal property of the Concord Township Fire Department surplus and not needed for public purpose and obsolete and unfit for the use which the property was acquired, and approving the destruction of this property.
And that is for the fire department. They have a 2004 Ford Expedition vehicle and a 2007 Dodge Durango vehicle. Neither one of them are in operational order, and we would benefit from training purposes as opposed to, we're not going to sell them. So.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve resolution 2020-06, declaring certain property of Concord Fire Department as surplus and not needed.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next we're going to address the public hearing for the zoning amendment application. I have some, concerns myself.
Need to make a motion first.
What?
Need to make a
Need to
motion.
make-
Need to make a motion and then discuss.
Okay. Make a motion to discuss.
No.
No.
Mr. Chairman, you want to make a motion to approve the requested zoning amendment application 0719-2, and then read the caption, second it, and then you can have discussion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the recommendation to deny the zoning amendment application 0719-2 by Ralph Victor Construction Incorporated, requesting a zoning map amendment for the current permanent parcel 8A 18000250 and 08A 018000030, whose address is 811 Prouty Road, and being about 25.57 acres of land for the current zoning district of R1 to R3.
And I second the motion.
All in favor?
No.
Well, no, this is where you, excuse me, this is where you initiate
Okay.
the discussion.
You want to start?
Yeah, I was on the zoning board when this came up in September 1st, and the conversation then at the time, and I did have conversations with David Dashy within Lake County, and I think the compelling deal here that we have is, we've got a rezone, and regardless of conversation about what the property becomes, we're just looking at a rezone. So with respect to the question that was brought earlier also, as far as traffic and all that, we're looking at a rezone. We're not looking at a site plan. We're not approving anything to that nature. So those things aren't relevant. So I think we need to consider, at least from my perspective, is that this is a rezone to R3, and there's no commitment. We don't have the township's not in a position to legally hold anything to conversation that's had in these meetings. And that is a bit of an issue. I think the appropriateness of R3 in contrast to the feedback from the community, I think it's hard for me to support that. And the fact that the zoning board has unanimously not supported it as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, the zoning commission denied it. I see some serious concerns with additional traffic flow in that area and no immediate access to 44 or 90. And that's concerning. I also don't believe that type of housing concept fits that area there. So I'm in agreement with you on that.
And I feel that the residents have made a point as far as having any more traffic than what R1 would anticipate. I also, with what the zoning commission recommended, I'm on board with that.
Thank you.
So we have to do roll call.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just so we're clear on this, the motion was made to approve the recommendation to deny the zoning amendment.
Correct, to deny.
So a vote in favor, yes, would mean you're in favor of denying the recommendation. Or
That's
denying the rezoning.
Denying the affirmative.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Mr. Dondorfer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucci?
Yes.
Okay, on to the next order of business. Is to vote on the conditional offer of employment to Timothy Brown for service director at $78,000 annually, effective February 10th, 2020, pending completion of new hire paperwork. For those of you that do not know, our service director, Frank Kraska, will be retiring, and we have made a conditional offer to Timothy Brown pursuant to an interview.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept pass the conditional offer of employment to Timothy Brown for service director.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is a conditional offer of employment to David Weber for maintenance worker 2 at $18 per hour pending completion of new hire paperwork.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the conditional offer of employment to David Weber for maintenance worker 2 at $18 an hour.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, a conditional offer of employment to James Hawk, part-time firefighter, paramedic, pending background check and physical.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the conditional offer of employment to James Hawk, part-time firefighter, paramedic.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is a conditional offer of employment to Noah Smith, part-time firefighter EMT, pending background check and physical.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve conditional offer of employment to Noah Smith, part-time firefighter EMT, pending background.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is going to be the recognition of 2 Eagle Scouts. Administrator Rose is going to read the letter of recognition for Eagle Scout Benjamin Weiss and Alexander Weiss.
The first one is Eagle Scout Benjamin Garrett Weiss. It is with great pleasure that the trustees of Concord Township extend their congratulations to Benjamin Garrett Weiss for attainment of the very prestigious honor of Eagle Scout. Anyone who has known a Scout understands the hard work and dedication that accompanies the achievement of Eagle Scout. However, it is certainly worth noting that only about 2% of your peers will achieve this same rank, and that you will stand among those Eagle Scouts that have become great leaders in this country. Your Eagle Scout project of raising over $15,000, developing a detailed plan, coordinating volunteers with 881 man-hours to build 2 baseball dugouts with chain link fencing, benches, shingled roofs, and concrete slab floors at ball field number 8 at Lamouth Middle School is very commendable and will be enjoyed by the community for many years to come. Eagle Scouts are leaders by the nature of their accomplishments, which you have demonstrated by your Eagle Scout project, serving your Boy Scout troops as assistant patrol leader, and quartermaster. We wish you the best in your future endeavors, and we look forward to watching you grow as a future community leader. Congratulations on becoming an Eagle Scout. Sincerely, the Concord Township Board of Trustees. The next letter is for his brother, Eagle Scout Alexander Christian Weiss. It is with great pleasure that the trustees of Concord Township extend their congratulations to Alexander Christian Weiss for attainment of the very prestigious honor of Eagle Scout. Anyone who has known a Scout understands the hard work and dedication that accompanies the achievement of Eagle Scout. However, it is certainly worth noting that only about 2% of your peers will achieve this same rank, and that you will stand among those Eagle Scouts that have become great leaders in this country. We commend you on your Eagle Scout project of raising over $9,000, developing a detailed plan, coordinating volunteers with 622 man-hours to build a 22-foot by 24-foot pavilion with a concrete slab, shingled roof, gutters, downspouts, and a finished ceiling at Lamouth Middle School. It will be enjoyed in the community for many years to come. Eagle Scouts are leaders by the nature of their accomplishments, which you have demonstrated by your Eagle Scout project, and serving on your Boy Scout troop as patrol leader and quartermaster. We wish you the best in your future endeavors, and we look forward to watching you grow as a future community leader. Congratulations on becoming Eagle Scout. Sincerely, Concord Township Board of Trustees. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. I would also like to congratulate Benjamin and Alexander Weiss for obtaining the Eagle Scout rank. It is a great accomplishment as an Eagle Scout myself. I know all the hard work that it takes to accomplish that, and it does really set you up for a life of service and leadership, and it really prepares you for whatever you plan on taking on in your life. So congratulations to both brothers, and well done. Next, we will set the date for the appropriations workshop, which will be February 19th at 5:30.
So if that's okay with all of you, check your calendars, but that would be an hour before the trustee meeting office hours. And the appropriations workshop is an opportunity for me to get with the trustees to explain line items in the budget, talk about the conversations I've had with department heads, anything I see down the line. It will not include specific things regarding the fire station. It's basically housekeeping, and it's day-to-day expenditures that we'll be making. So,
Okay.
okay.
That's good.
Would you like me to read the future meetings and announcements?
Please.
On Tuesday, February 4th at 10 a.m., there'll be the bid opening for the combined township Madison Village,
Perry.
My apologies, Perry Village resurfacing project, and also there's a bid opening for Lancaster Court project at the Lake County Engineers offices. At 7 p.m. that evening, as Heather mentioned previously, the zoning commission meeting will be held here at Town Hall. On Wednesday, the 12th of February at 7 p.m., the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting will be held here at Town Hall. On Monday, the 17th, will be closed in observance of President's Day. On Wednesday, February 19th at 5:30 p.m., there'll be an appropriations workshop for the trustees. At 6:30 p.m. the same evening, we'll be holding office hours here in the conference room. At 7:30 p.m., the trustee meeting here at Town Hall.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
And that is it for our meeting tonight. Close our meeting. Thank you, Concord. Have a good evening, everyone.